should have been a cowboy. I should have learned to rope ride.
What's going on, you hosers? We're back for another episode today, episode 28. Holy smokes, we are flying through these. Felipe currently is in Wyoming. They're doing a 6-day ride going from, I think, Jackson to Cody, Wyoming. So this kind of overlapped. He was going to do his best to get here, but unfortunately, the man is he's cowboying, which that's not unfortunate. That is awesome. So Cowboy Cole going to be doing a single episode today with a very special guest, somebody I've got to get to know here over the last handful of years, and just a really good dude. The man is all over the place. You would have seen him in a lot of the big rodeos, the American Calgary Stampede, and now the PBR World Finals for, I do believe, his second year here in 2025. We're talking about Brinson James, you guys, okay? The entertainer's entertainer. This guy is an absolute loose cannon, a fireball, a firecracker, whatever you want to call him out there, dude, doing flips off the friggin' chutes, dancing up a storm, awesome trick ropes. He had his dog Reride, who RIP unfortunately just passed away not that long ago, but the man is built to entertain. He's a phenomenal entertainer, and we are stoked to have him here on the Should Have Been a Cowboy podcast. So let's get to Brinson James.
Yes. Yes.
Dude,
Just rock my
are you on the links or something? What are you doing, bro?
I'm just pulled into my mom's house
Oh yeah.
because I'm headed to the PBR World Finals, old son.
When? Today?
And so I'm on
Tomorrow?
my right now.
Oh my
Right
God.
now. En route. So look, this is actually what happened. Okay, boom, look at that. This is what happened is I'm planning on leaving in the morning, and I just got a text probably an hour ago, hour and a half ago, of hey, we're gonna have our buckle ceremony tomorrow at 6:30. If y'all can be there, we would like to give you your buckles then.
Hmm.
Well, I was already about three packed.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, fine. So I finished up packing, and on my way. I've timed it right where I got to my mom's house, connect to the Wi-Fi, gonna do the podcast, and then continue on 14 hours.
Dude, okay, well, hold on. So you're in a golf cart. If people aren't watching this, also Felipe got stuck in Wyoming doing his cowboy thing. So it's just the boys hanging,
Okay,
but that's all right. But dude,
that's right.
you're in Florida, you're living the dream in a golf court, in a golf cart right now. Where in Florida are you? How do you get to live this rank ass lifestyle of
So
in a golf cart?
So we're North Central Florida. This is my mom's Christmas present I got for her last year, and so she lives in a small historic town of McIntosh, Florida, and so she just took the golf cart out and had the dog go for a little bit of run around our little city here, and yeah, so I wanted to have a nice little outside experience for our pod, an outside pod, and it's a Florida pod. I wanted to make sure I was dressed appropriate. And yeah, no, so I'm North Central Florida. I'm living Ocala, Florida, so like the horse capital of the country. But yeah, I'm living a campground there because I'm in and out every single week. And yeah, no, it's on to the next one, which is the World Finals, which is we're headed there now.
Yeah, I feel like your whole entire life has literally just been on to the next one because this is all you've done since you were a young kid. Can you give us a little bit of a background on just you and coming up in the world? Your dad was Hollywood Harris, and I don't know how, I mean, a lot of people should know who that is, but can you give us a little breakdown on him and how you grew up?
1000%. Oh, of course. Yeah. So my dad's Hollywood Harris. He's been PBR World Finals multiple times. The Calgary Stampede, Pinoca Stampede. He's done all the big shows across the country, Australia as well. And yeah, I was his sidekick growing up. I was little Boogerhead. Since I was 2 years old, we were Hollywood and Boogerhead, our rodeo clown team. My mom and dad actually lived on the road truck and travel trailer for 5 years before me. And then for 6 years after I was born, then they kept traveling around. And then when I was had to start going to school, 5 years old, we bought a place here in Florida. My grandparents lived here, and so yeah, we traveled around just going to rodeo almost every single weekend. The winter times, of course, are slow for rodeos. So my dad and my mom started up a little restaurant in Micanopy, Florida. And so that was my thing. As I grew up as having an ice cream restaurant as my parents owned the ice cream restaurant. So all the kids wanted to be friends with me.
Dude,
So
I
we would go to rodeos on the weekends, and then I'd go to school. We'd go to rodeos on the weekends, go to school during the week, and I could ride my bike to the restaurant and stuff like that, and hang out during the week. And I played baseball quite a bit growing up, but my dad really started after getting the what's it called, the restaurants taken off. He wanted to get back rodeoing again, and so I was probably 10 or 12, and that's when it started to we really took off and going almost every single weekend together. We flew then. And so we were flying in and out of Pittsburgh, in and out of going to California, almost three, four or five times a year. And we became had a bunch of different acts, me and my dad together. And then when I was 18, actually I think I was 17, my dad had a bad accident, and when he was in a rodeo, a bull kind of he wasn't a bullfighter anymore. He was just strictly a rodeo clown for entertainment, and he was just up on the fence, and the bull hooked the fence and hooked his feet out from under him. And it was a totally freak accident where the bull horn went in his baggies pocket of his clown baggies in his pocket. And so once it was in his pocket, he was hung to his head for like 40 seconds. And so I was there, I was 17. It was a crazy, crazy accident. And he was pretty much out for close to 2 years after that. And so that was my time to kind of step up in the position. I was just about to turn 18, and the PBR called and said, "Hey, we would like to hire the team of Hollywood and Boogerhead to go to PBR Canada and take over, and we'll just do their run that they're starting that year." And yeah, he had the broken leg. So he's told him, "Hey, my son's 18. He's ready for it. I think you should try him." And at that time, they said, "Sure, let's try it out." So that
man,
was my first PBR really off and on my own. Was in a brand new country, and so they were absolutely crazy. And but we had kind of led me in the right direction. And yeah, Jason Davidson with 3D bull riding and the PBR Canada events, he really liked my style, and so we really pushed that style and kept it going, and yeah, it's really worked out now. I've done all the PBR Canada events for a while now. My dad is back healthy. He's still rodeoing. He's 64 now. And is still clowning. He's actually did a show this past weekend in Florida, and he's already beat me halfway there to the World Finals. He's going to be out there the whole time, getting to watch me at the World Finals the whole time. So I'm pretty excited about it.
dude, that's gotta be so cool having everything like that come full circle, and even the circumstance of you ending up having to go off on your own and kind of take the lead for the family business. Like, unfortunately, rodeo shit's gonna happen, especially when you're out there and involved and they're bucking bulls and whatnot. Anything can happen, and it goes to
100%.
show. So let's talk about your style a little bit, dude. When you were growing up and kind of finding your feet and finding your groove, like when did your style of like really hype, very energetic, lots of dance, and your hucking flips off of anything you can get 2 feet on, like when did you really start to tap into that style of entertaining?
Well, I don't know. My thing was I was always the helper that never had a microphone. When my dad finally let me come out there, and I started getting in the barrel when I was 13 years old. So I was allowed to be out there in the arena, but I had to be in certain areas, either on the fence where the brace was, and I could climb all over it, or in the barrel. And there's only those certain areas that I could get to, and so but I had to be very elaborate with my movements. I didn't have a microphone. I had to be able to say my emotion with just my face and my arms, and be able to make the crowd feel sad, and tell them to say "aw" without saying it. And so that was the biggest thing, is just pantomime, comedy, pantomime, getting the crowd into it, and being able to make that crowd feel an emotion without telling them anything is what I kind of perfected as a kid, not knowing it.
Hmm.
And being able to, my dad says, "Hey, get out of the barrel." Of course, I want to be in the barrel as a kid. I wanted to get hit by the bull in the barrel, of course. I wanted to do that, but my dad says you can't be funny and be in the barrel. So I had to get out of the barrel and go out and get on the fence and be funny and be entertaining while dad was on the microphone telling jokes. So well, that trained me, again, not knowing it, to constantly have my eye on the bucking bull and in the chute. So when the bull was about to nod or the cowboy was about to nod and the bull was about to come out, I would run like heck and get in the barrel because I wanted to be in the barrel when the bull bucked. But I had to be outside the barrel because my dad told me to when the bull wasn't bucking. Well, now that is great for me to be able to distract the crowd, do something, but then all of a sudden I can know how to get out of the way because the bull's about to nod or give them 15 seconds for the guys can set up the bull rider or something like that. And so my style is just me. I'm just out there dancing, having a good time. They just so happen to put a earbud in my ear where I can listen to the music not just out of the speakers. So I'm jamming right there. I'm having a good time, you know what I mean? And so that's my thing is I'm just out there having a good time and hopefully that makes the crowd have a good time. And then actually, who was it? It was Coy Robbins told me at one of the PBR Canada events, "Hey, when you get that crowd screaming, I can ride anything." And so that's I really took it. Like I want to take them the people to that level, and I tell people that, hey, these guys feed off of the energy. So let me help you get that energy out in the air so we can get 90 points. And so that's the deal. Is just I'm just a cheerleader. I'm just there having fun. And now it's kind of turned into a style, I guess, of not so much of an old school rodeo clown telling jokes. It's more of a let's just have fun, guys.
Well, and that's kind of where the sport's been going too, right? Like, I guess the evolution of the rodeo clown, like it's all changing, and you've been a huge spearhead for that. I mean, anywhere you go, people want to see Brinson because of how you can help a crowd, control a crowd, help them understand what's going on. And like you were saying, what Coy said, when they're loud, them boys can ride anything. And I mean, until they see that, like it's easy for you to get up on the fence and be like, hey, when you see me, you got to get loud for them. When you're loud, they ride better, bulls buck harder. It's going to be a great night, but they don't know that till they see it. So you got to just keep asking and asking and asking. And you don't seem to have a problem getting it out of them.
Well, and another guy, a photographer at an event, came up and told me, he says, "Hey, I've never really seen your style before." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm just out there having fun." He goes, "Well, you're not really. It's more of you're getting the audience to entertain themselves." And so I'm singing, I'm getting them to sing along. I'm getting them to dance. I'm to either I throw stuff in the crowd with balloons, and they're helping me do an activation. And yeah, so I'm bringing the audience a part of the show because they're spending quite a bit of money to come in and show that they like our sport when we can't have the sport without them. So we got to bring them in the show somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, just boys getting on bulls doesn't quite do it anymore, right? You got to have the music, the lights, the entertainer, everything on. Because there's so many other things for people to go do to
Yeah,
entertain themselves. This thing included, right? Some people don't even have to leave their damn couch to
for
have
sure.
themselves laughing. So, dude, what you're doing is huge. And taking a step back is yeah, you were living the literal dream right now. But like as a kid growing up, watching your dad clown, did you look at any other events? Did you want to be a bullfighter or maybe ride bulls or get into riding broncs or anything like that? Did any of those temptations ever cross your mind?
Oh yes, of course. I was a little daredevil as a kid, but my dad always told me, he said, "Hey, I, I'm every act that we did together were two acts. We were a team, so everything we did on the road acts wise were together." So he says, "Hey, you can do that. You can ride a bull, fight a bull, whatever. But you if you break your arm, what am I gonna do? You
Mm.
know, what are we gonna do at home? We don't have any more acts if you can't trick rope. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So that was the main thing is I've never had a free month to go and go ride bulls or anything like that. We're working at least two bulls a month ever since I was born. So that was the biggest thing is rodeo was my sport. Dad would slowly let me fight bulls a little bit. Only ones that he knew that I could get around. But it wasn't yeah, go cowboy protect. It was if you wanted to play around with this bull and make a couple rounds, you can. And so I went to a bullfighting school where it was actually a rodeo that was it had a rodeo at the end of the week, but then there was a rodeo school during the week. And so I got to come in a little bit early and hang out with the bullfighting school and learn a little bit because I wanted to be out there in the middle, but not be in danger if I didn't know what I was doing. So being able to learn a little bit with that, and I love the sport of freestyle bullfighting. I'm a huge, huge fan. Of course, I think I can do it. I definitely can't do it. I think I can. But I love to watch it. Love to be a part of that. Would love to try a little bit of it every now and then. But yes, I feel like I got a good thing going here with being funny and dancing, so I don't want to mess that up.
Ah, dude. Yeah, you're walking your path. You're doing your thing for sure. Um, Dude, yeah, fighting bulls would be crazy. And I swear to God, I've seen a video of you getting in on a wreck before to help out. What's your past like with that? Because sometimes it is an all hands on deck. We're in
Oh
trouble.
yeah, no, you never know with bull riding or rodeo. And I'm there to help. I'm always would like to help out. And so yeah, we have one of the coolest uh I think pictures ever. I can't wait to hang on my wall when I get a house. Is me working a hang up at a PBR event. Let's not tell anybody it was a junior bull, but it was yeah, no, we were at a PBR Canada event and they had a junior bull riding in about at like the intermission time, and I was right there just to help out. And Tanner Burns says, "Hey, you're in on this one. He's pretty easy." And I said, "Okay, sure," knowing that nothing was going to happen. And he said, Tanner said, "Here, you take my spot." And he put me right in the lead bullfighter area. And the next thing you know, bull jumps twice, and the kid hangs up immediately. And well, I was right there, and I mean, I can't not do it.
Yeah,
And so I had to step in there, and just so happens I did it right.
dude.
And so same thing happened at the Calgary Stampede. Absolutely blew myself away. I'm stuck out there in the middle of the pasture that which they call the arena, the barrel, and here comes the biggest bull around, and he comes right to the barrel. Well, I've fought with the dog on the barrel my whole life. I pretend like the dog is the bull and I lay it down and I pretend and fight him and everything. And I've done that my whole life. And so when it actually happened, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And I did it and it worked. And so I accidentally did it right. And then so luckily the bull wasn't too mean and he went away after just hitting it a couple times.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I get my fill of my action of a bullfighter every now and then. But yeah, I what really makes me what I like and it makes me feel good after an event is not so much stepping in there on the bull and helping a good save. It's when the timing of the event is coming down to, hey, we need something in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Brinson, and I can give something that helps out the show properly with the right time, and then all right, get out of it. We're getting back to bull riding, and I can pull out of that. I'm big team player, so that's my biggest thing is when I can help out that show to make it one of the best shows ever. The crowd's gonna love it. They're gonna pay to tickets next year. That's my biggest thing is if when I can click my part of my job off perfectly, then that's what makes me feel good.
absolutely. And it happens more times than not, right? When they come in your ear because there's a bull laying down in the chute or whatever's going on, they're like, "Hey, man, we need you to fill a minute," right? Like it happens so
Well,
often.
just this last weekend, it's rare that it happens, but it's kind of a good and bad scenario for me. Is the very last bull re-ride. So we're gonna have to wait until we load another one and get that guy back on again because we don't buck them after it anymore. We buck them right there. So do you trick rope and draw the attention away, or is the bull already loaded? So do you just get the crowd stand up on their feet and more intrigued and more intensely watching than they were? And so it's all about kind of filling out the timing and filling out what's going on, and yeah, kind of throwing in the show what you think would only help out the show.
And yeah, you got to make that decision so fast, dude. But I mean, you've been doing it for so long, frick. It's second nature now.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude,
It
what
it is. And the sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna segue, but no, I want you to finish your thought if it's still on your mind.
Well, it was just that the PBR now it's all about these top bull riders of the world. It's not so much we're just building any type of entertainment. We're building that type of show. So anything that could you can really draw the crowd into to sell those bull riders as much as we can. I like to be a part of that. I like to be a part of that production, and I feel like this is a good spot for me where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear, man. I was actually just talking to Keenan Vine before we hopped on, and even kind of my own path to finding the production side of rodeo. I mean, being involved in rodeo my whole life, but always from the competitor standpoint, man. But now that I've gotten into the production and behind the scenes point, I almost love that more. And like the idea of like, hey, what can we give these people tonight that will make them go home and round up 10 of their friends to come back with next year? Because it only
For
benefits
sure.
ourselves, our sport, the up and comers, people who want to be a Brinson when they grow up, right? Like we've gotta set the tone to keep stuff moving forward, man. And dude, it's nuts.
It's all about just keeping their attention. You can people can only really stay, sitting down and have their attention for, 2 hours is a long time.
Hmm.
I mean, and so my thing is, Keenan, going back to Keenan Vine, he taught me that rodeo is kind of stuck on if it's not action sports of rodeo, then it has to be comedy from the clown. And so he said, why? It's just a distraction. We need a distraction from the show. It doesn't have to be immediately funny. I mean, that's great if it is, but the entertainment is entertainment. So that's my thing is I can do some cool tricks. I can do some funny tricks. Dancing really good, not so much funny dancing, just getting down and dancing is very entertaining to watch. So that's why I'm out there just dancing, trying to keep people just distracted for a minute. Okay, now let's keep them because we don't want them drifting off and thinking that, oh yeah, I need to leave and get out of here. No, we want to keep them in their seats intrigued for 2 hours.
Yeah, if they're talking to each other, that's bad. Um,
Well, I like that you're switching yourself into a little bit of the production side. I don't know if you and the crew here has talked about how I have pushed you to be not so much a rodeo clown, but a rodeo entertainer for years now. And
mhm.
so now that you're finally announcing and getting into it a little bit more, Keenan's going to help out a lot with that. I think you can work out great in that position. There's nobody in Canada that's really the forefront of the entertainment world of rodeo, and so I think you could help out that a lot in Canada for sure.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Yeah, like you said, you've been harping on me for a while to get into this, and dude, it like, what would this be? I feel like 2022 we kind of started BSing about this, and now we're 2025, dude, and I can't begin to explain to you how quickly a guy's schedule has booked up, even with my own style, right? Because like I don't really have the dance moves, but I got the trick roping. I'm
You
quick
don't want
on
that. You
mic
want
and
your own
stuff,
style. You
right?
want
Like,
your own style. That's the biggest
mm,
thing. That's the biggest thing is a lot of people they think they see something that's at the top right now, and maybe we should. Oh, a lot of people want that. Let's strive to that. You know, I, I think the reason why I am successful right now is the only person I ever got to watch was my dad. I never really got to watch Flint. I never really got to watch Keith Isley. Never really got to watch a Dennis Halstead. I never watched watch those certain people that I could know, oh, I want to take some of that, take some of that. I had one guy and myself to build my own character on. And so to be able to take your own style, no dancing, a roper's background with your roper's comedy, and you could, or just your a rodeo background to be a rodeo kid and talk about that kind of stuff. That's what the rodeo world is, you know what I mean? And so we need more people that want to try some different stuff and not, stick in the mold. And so I love it. Want to see you try it more.
Yeah, thanks, brother. It's been going good, dude. Literally, yeah, booking a bunch of stuff and finding my groove and finding my rhythm. And it's been cool to have committees reach out wanting to kind of go that different route of, well, we don't want a clown this year, we don't want the axe, but we still have 2 minutes to fill here, or we still have a boot deal to give away, or we got gift cards to give away. And it's just like, wicked, throw me in, coach, right? Like, and then having a general understanding too of like you said, you got to be able to keep an eye on the buck and shoot and know when they're close or know when they need help or know when you got to get the attention over here because over there is bad. We don't want them watching that right now. We want them over here watching. So like, dude, there's a lot to be paying attention when a guy's out there too. But I mean, you just got to
Yeah,
go.
well, that is that's the thing. I tell a lot of kids that were come to watch me or come to hang out or come with me to an event. I said, hey, I want you to sit down and find the problem that's going on. If you see me talking during the event, there's something going on. Find it out and see if you see it before I do. You know what I mean? Just try to see what's go behind the scenes, but be out there in the open. And that's a big part of it. And being a part of the growing up in the rodeo world, since I was 2 years old, is definitely. I mean, definitely helps.
Yeah, dude, for real. And being present. That's what I've found too, is like just being genuinely present with the situation. You will feel when you're needed. You'll feel that lull. You'll feel when they've had enough of you when you need to get out, right? Like so much of it is just being present, paying attention, and going with the flow.
What I've learned here recently too is the crowd isn't stupid. You can't hide much from 15,000 people or 3,000 people. You can't hide much from them. So if you see it, they pretty much saw it too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So to hide stuff from people in that way, it's an old art. And so now to bring it to light and either make comedy of it or we'll get past that is my aspect is the crowd ain't dumb. Let's go ahead and tell them about it, tell them what's going on, maybe bring a little bit of light to it and move on.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, just go ahead and touch on it and keep rolling. Um, dude, working the barrel. Building a barrel. For anybody listening to this that maybe wants to get into clown and get into entertaining, how the hell do you build a clown barrel, man? Because I've always wanted to get out there and just be inside one and get hooked around a bit, but I know for a fact it can't feel good.
It ain't too bad. But no, they yeah, it's of course a steel barrel. A lot of them have aluminum barrels now, but I have a steel barrel, and it's a cylinder and two cones. That's all it is, welded together, and we put probably close to 5 to 6 inches of padding on the outside, and we use a styrofoam board insulation, and then a bunch of duct tape. But that's for the bulls. We don't want them to hurt their heads or anything at all because then they will never come and hit a barrel again. And on the inside, multiple people use different things, but me and my dad and lots of clowns down here, we use it's a closed cell foam, and it's a black or white, but like a dense foam, and you dang sure take a ride in there and you can feel it, but it's a good bit of padding. Like mine, I have 6 inches of that in there, so I can get pretty sucked into it, and actually, this past weekend, we have an 18-year-old kid here in Florida called Malachi Morris, and he's a rodeo clown that's been doing it for quite some time. Really starting to go out on his own again too. And gave him my barrel because I fly around doing all these PBRs at the beginning of the year, and I said, "Hey, why don't you take my barrel just for the beginning of the year here and use it as much as you can because he's got quite a bit of rodeos." Well, he's been packing it around and doing pretty good because it's all about picking up from the inside of the barrel and walking the barrel closer to the action. It's for the bullfighters or the bull rider if they can't get to the fence. That's the second option if you can't get to the fence. So he's been really working on getting that barrel walk. He's a little kid, he's kind of like me when I was 18, kind of scrawny, and so he's been working out a lot. And I was telling him this past weekend he came with me to an event, and yeah, I was 13 years old, possibly 12 when I got in my very first barrel. Actually, my first barrel is down here in my mom's basement. It's a miniature barrel because I was 12, obviously. It was a mini. And when the bullfighter laid it over for the bull to, hit it for the first time, normally a barrel will, when you lay it over, it comes to the bullfighter's belly. This one went to about his knees because it's a mini. And so he just rolled it to the bull, and the bull luckily just hit it once or twice, and I got out of it, and I was addicted since then. And so yeah, to get in the barrel and kind of get rolled around isn't too bad. To when it's laid over and it's rolling, it's kind of, I got I got in the dryer a couple times when I was a kid, so it wasn't too bad. But when you go end over end, that's when it ain't no fun. That's when it can get kind of hairy, and you really got to just brace yourself. That's the only thing you're really doing is just brace yourself. And so, yeah, this kid, Malachi Morris, we brought it to a bullfight this past weekend because their barrel man needed a barrel. He was flying in from Texas. And so the show was in Georgia. And we get there and he didn't show up. So I said, "Hey,
Oh,
I got this 18-year-old kid packing the barrel all year. You think think he could have a shot here at the biggest ultimate bullfighting event of the year?" And
whoa.
Luke Kaufman said, "Sure, let's have him." And I went back there and asked Cody Webster. I asked Cody Webster, "Hey, would it be okay if we have the barrel out there? We have a kid that's been packing it all year." He goes, "Yep, let's try him." Well, first show he had a barrel hop. Second show he had three barrel hops hooked down. He said the bull hooked him down one time and he spun him all the way to the other end. He said that was as fast as he ever got spun in his life. So we're starting them young. You got to get in the barrel and get banged around a little bit and get addicted to it, and then we got a really entertainer for life. So yeah, it's a very cool part of being a rodeo clown is getting in the barrel and getting banged around because we don't really get to get with the bullfighting. That was my only way to get in the action. But yeah, it's an art to be able to go in there and pack one in there properly and stay out of the way when you need to be and be in the way when you need to be. And yeah, only some people can really keep that sport alive. But yeah, it's definitely, you either can be a really good barrel man and pack that can, or like my dad taught me, you got to get out of it to be funny and be entertaining. So it's hard to do both.
And I feel like after you take those first couple knocks in that barrel, you know probably right then and there whether or not this is something you want to stick out.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, no, 100%. I've had both sides of my bit because I was routed around a little bit, and yeah, I think it's fun, but I'm also a little crazy too.
Yes, yes, you are. But that's not a bad thing, dude. Crazy people make the world go around. I believe that. Um,
For
what
sure.
what are
100%.
some of the injuries that you've dealt with as an entertainer throughout your years?
No, knock on wood, I've been really kind of safe. I like to stay away from that action if I can. But I broke both ankles a couple years back. I think just before COVID. Um, I was both doing the exact same thing in the rodeo. I backflip. You've seen them multiple times, but I backflip off of the fence. I backflip off of a 12-foot ladder. Backflip off of some high things, and in Saskatoon, during a PBR event. I it was in October, usually right around Halloween. I backflipped off of their stage, which is in the middle of the arena, which is as tall as the fence in a dark house, and couldn't really see the ground as well as I thought I could. And yeah, didn't make a full loop around. I landed on my hands and knees, and my toe was kind of cranked up underneath me, and a slight fracture in my fibula on my left leg. But I was feeling okay. I still had four more PBR Canada events to
Oh,
make to end that run. So I went straight to Brandon with sports medicine there, and they gave me a walking boot. And actually, no, this the next night of Saskatoon, I they didn't have the walking boot, so they taped me up really really good. And so I didn't go to the also I didn't go to the hospital. Brandon really looked at it good, and all their team looked at it good, and he said it's a hairline fracture or it's something with the tendons. And so and I asked him, well, so if we go to the hospital, what are they going to say? Oh, they're going to want you in a walking boot. And I said, okay, well, we don't have one here, but we'll have one next one if you can make it next weekend. And so we taped me, and I did the whole. I told Jason, I said, I don't know if I could do it. I'm pretty hurt. And he goes, we need you. And I said, okay, well, I need a stool. And so they gave me a stool, and I did most of the uh, whole event from a stool on the shark cage with crutches. And so I start, and we had pyro on my crutches, and I said, "Who's ready for the PBR?" And so we got through that night. I laid up at Ted Stoven's house in Calgary there with my foot up in the air for the next 4 days, and then we went to uh, Yorkton, and Yorkton they had a walking boot for me, and
nice.
so I had a walking boot, and I did a walking boot with there and Lloydminster and the finals, I think. Yeah, because that was in November. So I did the finals with the walking boot. And after the new year, like on New Year's Eve, I have a show in um Oregon, and I'm feeling a lot better. This is 2 months now. Foot's feeling a lot better. Still a little weary on it, but we're good. I tape it up myself. I didn't have sports medicine at that event. Taped it up myself and felt like I could throw a backflip. It was New Year's Eve. It was sold out crowd. I was feeling pretty good
Yeah.
and jumped off a ladder, pushed with my right foot more, and the whole ladder came out from underneath me, really throw me off and broke tib and fib of my right leg this time.
Oh, god dang.
So so finish the show. I get out. I tip my hat, hobble out of the arena, lay outside the arena, and they said, "Hey, we need you out there to do this next activation." The old announcer is too old to get out of the announcer stand to do it. So I said, "Okay." So I wobble back out there in the arena and said, "Y'all, I say you saw I hurt my ankle there, but I can't miss this party, so I'm gonna finish this off here." And I did the activation, and then I climbed up on top of the fence, and they had a big gate right there next to that was holding up the fence, and I could stand on top of the fence with my good leg and hang on to that big yoke on top of the other fence, and I could stand there in front of the crowd. I did the rest of the show right there. After that, a buddy of mine drove me to the airport. I checked the rental car, and I flew home. Went to the hospital the next day. And I said, "Can you X-ray that one? And might as well X-ray the other one too, please, just to see why we're there."
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh yeah, the other one, it was broke. It was broke, but it's healing now."
Dude, that's wild.
So yeah, so I broke both of those just on the back flips. Other than that, I've been really lucky. I've got in there on a couple bulls and got a little too close, got hooked around a little bit. But yeah, that and I'm getting up 31 now. So as a clown, I can sneeze my rib out of place. So that's another big injury that happened recently. So other than that, that's about it.
Dude, sneeze a rib out of place. Sound like an old man. Oh, dude, that's wild. But so the backflips and stuff, dude, how long have you been doing that? When did you learn how to do that?
I had a trampoline as a kid. That was my biggest thing. We had a trampoline as a kid, and so I would do backflips all the time off of that, and backflips into the pool. And then when my mom wasn't looking, I practiced by doing flips off a Lexus SUV. And so, definitely not the way to practice. I've learned now, but doing that and then doing them off the fence. Whenever I would trick rope, I would do the big loop on at the end, and then to sell that big loop, I'd never seen anybody do a backflip. So I told Dad, "Hey, if I do this big loop on the barrel, I'm gonna do a backflip off." He goes, "Okay." So that was my thing is nobody did a backflip after their trick roping act. So I started doing it after every trick roping act, and then the crowd really loved it. So I'll throw it up there. I try to throw it once a weekend. I hate to do it, a couple times in the night just to get a reaction. But yeah, I like to usually get it with a surprise of, oh, you don't think I could do it? Bam, hit them with a big old backflip.
Dude, I think the favorite backflip I've seen you huck is when you crawled onto the back of Grover's horse at PBR Canada finals there a couple of years ago and just kind of I could see you watching the Jumbotron until they everybody kind of figured out what you were doing and then just poof. I got a badass video of it. And then it's funny because in the video as you're running back, you could tell that it was probably Pete or whoever's in your ear going, Brinson, what the hell was that? And you just go, just shoulder shrugged as you jogged on around and out. It was so funny, dude.
Yeah, no, he's like, well, that was out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, you could tell that you just kind of looked over and there was just like, yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, sometimes I mean, a lot of times I'm of course I'm always about the show. I don't want to distract from the show, but yeah, these guys when they're here to be entertained, so you got to throw a little bit some new.
Well, it was one of those prime examples of where like
Stuff.
you recognize the moment to slip it in there, right? Like just all part of the game.
Well, that's what I'm learning now more too. Is I do need to add a little bit more of my comedy into my show by with my microphone. So learning a little bit more about the cities is what I'm learning is about roads that come into the cities, of the things that happened a little bit before that has a big storm come to that town before, before we got there and stuff like that to add a little about, oh yeah, I did take the two coming into town here. You know what I mean? Or whatever. You know what I mean? To add a little bit of to relate to that crowd a little bit more is what I'm learning here now. And that's the cool part too. Is I'm not. I'm still learning. You know. I mean, I'm definitely not the best. I'm not. I'm working to be the best, but I still got a lot to learn.
Dude, now you're starting to sound like a comedian getting into town and having to riff jokes together about how you got there, what's going on. I was making jokes in Manitoba last year when I went out to Escada for some BRCs where I was telling them like, "Hey, I didn't realize that your 50 kilometers an hour sign also doubled as your population sign. What's going on here?" 'Cause just some shit like
Great.
that.
I'm gonna use that. Thank you.
Please, yeah, dude, please. That one was great out there in nowhere, Manitoba, but man, they loved it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It was nothing.
Speaking of comedians, dude, I remember the night you called me. I don't know if you were in like Nashville or something. You're like, "Hey, dude, do you know who Dusty Slay is?" And I was like, "Yeah." And you're like, "I just met him in my hotel lobby, and I got a ticket to go to his show tonight." You get to meet badass people at all these big events you go to, especially like the PBR World Finals and places like that where some big dogs outside of our world will show up. So like, do you have a handful of guys that you've got to meet, like a Theo Vaughn and stuff? We were like, holy shit, did not see this coming, but here I am.
100%. Yeah, actually, Theo Vaughn got to show up in Nashville. He came and we were in. Dusty Slay was just a coincidence. That and I'm a huge Dusty Slay fan. I've watched quite a bit of stuff on YouTube, and so that was in I do believe Minnesota or something like that. And he was just so happened coming down on the elevator as with me, bumping into him in the lobby, and his show was right across the street, and our show was the next night. I tried to get him tickets to come to my show, but he had another show the next night. And so I got to hang out with Kid Rock's manager for a little bit, and he calls me after the show and goes, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" I said, "Oh, we're just headed back to the hotel here, then probably go get something to eat." And he goes, "Well, me and Kid Rock and a couple of them out here at his bar if you want to come." Oh, sure. All right. And so yeah, so we got in the back door and got to hang out with them a little bit. And so yeah, it's starting to get up to that area where we're some cool people start to come hang out. And yeah, and they're just fans too. You know, that's the cool part is when you get them outside of their element, is they're just fans and want to learn a bit about this. And so I'm kind of a teen girl looking at a couple of these guys that I'm a super fan of, but they're just a fan of us too. So it's cool to get to hang out with a couple of guys like that. I got to meet the Iceman Chuck Liddell of the UFC fighter and stuff like that. That was killer last year at the World Finals. Um, yeah, and this year, and so with our partnership with the WWE and the UFC, it's getting to get a lot of big time stars to come in and meet and stuff like that and hang out with the Cowboys.
Dog, when are we gonna see Brinson do a backflip off the top rope onto Logan Paul or something?
That would be rank. That
Right?
that would be rank. Yeah. No, we need to give me a couple years, but yeah, give me a couple years.
That might be your path in your I don't know. Do you even have an off season per se? Like what because you kind of just balls out all year,
It used to before the PBR gig came into play. We did the winter time was a little bit of our slower season, but the ultimate bullfighting usually kept me. Um, I had a job during the December time just because of their finals and stuff like that. But now, the our UTB or Unleash the Beast season is starts in November and goes to May, the middle of May, and then my July, June, I come back up to Canada. We have our Eastern run out there, and I have another rodeo in Florida. July is rodeo heaven in Calgary, so I'll be out the bull busting for starting on the 1st to the 5th, and then Calgary Stampede starting on the 4th to the who knows when,
yeah.
and so and then our PBR team season starts in August, and so that goes all the way to November as well, and PBR Canada also kicks back up in the later part of the year. So yeah, no, there's no off season now. I think I counted up uh five, maybe four weekends that I'm not going to a rodeo this year,
That's so
or
bad.
rodeo or bull riding or something like that.
Yeah. And like what do you does the guy try to plan anything for those weekends or you like to just be home and rip around on the ski?
Um, I want to stay home. I want to stay home, but those are the only times that when you get to say I never get to have a vacation. Well, my vacation is every single weekend. It feels like it. I'm only working for 2 hours. But to go somewhere and not, really to fly in, not know anybody that weekend and have a vacation and pay for it all weekend is new to me. So I've only really done that 3-4 times. So that's the thing now is yeah, my first month that I'm first weekend I have coming off was Super Bowl weekend, and I went to Texas. And then this next weekend is the last weekend of May, and I'm planning a beach trip in Florida. So yeah, I'd still do a little bit can't really hang around the house. Bought me a new little boat, so I've been wanting to take that out as much as possible. So that's the kind of, yeah, I get to stay home a little bit, but maybe still do a little bit more stuff.
Yeah. No, that's good, dude. That's good. Um, I'm trying to think. I had another question or two for you because I don't want to keep it too long. I know you got to get on the road. Um, okay, I'll narrow it down. One, what would be one of your favorite small town gigs? It might not be the biggest crowd or the nicest arena, but it's the best time for you. What's one of those small town gigs that you love going to?
Lloydminster, Alberta.
Really?
I would have to say yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Interesting
I've done
commentary.
a lot of small ones, a lot of small ones in the States as well. But I would have to say that would probably be one of my highlights just because of how many people we can pack into the little venue they have, and they're right on the action, and there's maybe 2,000 people in there, maybe, and we could have a 3 hour show, and they're gonna stay there the whole time. You know, what I mean, they're there the whole time. They're hooked. They're partying, and yeah, that's probably for the small town show. That's probably my favorite.
Nice. Lloydminster. All right. If you're listening, you got to go to Lloydminster. So then on top of that, for your PBR World Finals, man, like that is the pinnacle, dude. What is it like behind the scenes when they bring you out hollering your name for the first time that night and that crowd erupts? Like, what is that whole scene like, dude?
My dad wore a PBR World Finals clown buckle my whole life. You know, he had it in. He went to the 1999 and 2000, and 98. So, but he has almost my whole life. He's wore that buckle. So to get one last year, my very first one was absolutely insane. Just that feeling of holy crap, that this is it's real. You know, I mean, I've always we've dreamed from be there. You know, my whole life of trying to work to there. Didn't think it was going to happen really this fast, but no, it's to be a part of such a big team. It's unlike anything else. I thought PBR Canada was a really big team until I came down here. PBR Canada has one production truck that travels around with us all year long. When the team that's down here has 17 semis that travel around with this tour at every stop all year long. And so to be a little bit a part of that big, huge scale is crazy and crazy, and to be able to add my name on the very short list of PBR entertainers is what's kind of mind blowing. As wrap your head around is there's only four people in the world that have a PBR entertainer buckle. It's Flint Rasmussen, myself, and Matt Merritt, who got it last year, and my dad.
Wow,
And so that's really cool to
dude.
to 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 make the circle come around, and but to also to put my style and to let people know that hey, yeah, my dad also did this. He's a legend, but I'm here to try something new and see if I can't put my name on there too.
And the people are loving it. It's funny to hear you say you didn't think it would happen this early, even though you've been clowning since you were 12.
Yeah,
Right? Like
yeah, really, I guess so.
that's so it's cool.
Yeah.
Then like boots on the
Well,
ground, man. Go ahead.
That was my thing too. Is I was always going. We're always working. We're always doing shows. Always having fun. I've never really been a guy or the clown that said, "Man, I really wish I can do that Pinoca Stampede," or "I really wish I could do that PBR World Finals," or "I really wish I could do the Calgary Stampede." I was just always, I loved every event. I'm out there having the time of my life at every single event. So it didn't really matter what it was. But now that those big ones are coming on the table, yeah, I'm so blessed. God has a path for everyone, and I can't believe that mine is the one they had for me is so fun. This is absolutely incredible.
Dude, and I hope people can listen to this and find some motivation to really figure out what makes them happy and try to figure out how to do that for a living because I feel like it's very rare and very unique when a person finds that. I'm slowly finding it. And then to watch somebody like yourself who's having the success that you're having, man, it gives people hope that like, hey, I can find my thing too and have it work for me. So that's freaking incredible, man.
Definitely.
But I won't keep you any longer. You guys gotta get this show on the road. So I'll ask you our last question that we love to ask everybody. The podcast is should have been a cowboy. So when we interview somebody who isn't a cowboy, we ask them what kind of cowboy would be. But since you are a cowboy, Brinson, what would you be if you weren't a rodeo cowboy entertainer?
Ooh, that's a crazy one. Yeah, I don't know. I might be a street performer bum that lives in California on the beach.
What do you think
You
your
know,
street ID would
I'm very I don't know. I would probably be the guy that when there's a red light, I would string the rope across and be balancing out there and juggling on a stick trying to make a couple bucks just to get a $2 taco or something like that. I'm really chill, laid back. I don't really have much going, so this is the of course the biggest thing part of my life, and I've consumed my life with it. And so yeah, who knows what I would get myself into, but it would have to be some type of performance.
Yeah, no matter what, a guy he'd be trying to put a smile on people's face. I love to hear that, dude.
That definitely, and definitely don't put me in the cowboy category, even though I mean, this is a fedora. I mean, that doesn't really help me at all. But I am a clown through and through. I work at a rodeo. I will trick rope a little bit, and I can talk to you about cowboys until a real cowboy gets here. But yeah, no, I'm a clown.
Fair enough. Well, what kind of cowboy would you want to be? And that could be like rodeo wise, that could be like a Texas cow puncher, that could be whatever you wanted. Like, what do you think you'd go with?
There is nothing prettier than a beautiful wild bronc ride. And so to be a still a rodeo cowboy, but be able to ride wild horses like that, I think is a whole nother level. So that's always fascinated me. So if I had to take the cowboy lifestyle, I think I may would try that.
Dude, you're built for it. You are the right size to go spur broncs.
I did it one time on a dummy, and it felt so good. And then I just said, "Don't do it! Don't do it! You're gonna get hurt! Don't do it!"
You're like, get me off this thing. Uh,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
that's awesome, bro. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Dude, so stoked for you and your success and everything you're doing, and just happy to call you a friend and see you living the dream, man. So thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and yeah, no, I can't wait to see where your path's taking you, man. We're both hitting our stride at the right
Yes.
time. I can't wait to see where we're going.
Amen to that, dude. And with that, we'll let you go. And I mean, it's May 6th, so we'll be seeing you on my side of the border here soon enough, I imagine, eh?
Oh,
Oh,
it's a Brandon is my next one, Brandon, Manitoba, and then yeah, no, we're on the next one after that.
hell yeah, brother. Okay, well, safe travels. And anybody listening to this, look for Brinson James at your local PBR, the biggest PBR events all over the world, man. So keep killing it, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, dog. See you, man.
And that was Mr. Brinson James, absolute legend, changing the game in terms of being an entertainer. Like he said, man, he figured out his own style. He ran with it, and look at where it's got him. It's got him on the biggest stages. We've seen him at the American. He does the Calgary Stampede, second year doing the PBR World Finals. The man is a menace, and I love him to death. And we can't thank him enough for coming on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Should have been a cowboy. That was Brinson James. This is Cowboy Cole signing off. Remember, you guys can find us on YouTube if you want to see our pretty faces and my awesome mustache. We are on Spotify, Apple, Podbean, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.